Guys, I'm back with another video, and I'm prouder than ever to say that this video is on none other than a brand spanking new 3D Mario game that's coming out for the Nintendo Switch. So yeah, this video has been a long time coming. I actually wanted to do this video, I had the idea for this video in late August of this year, of last year, sorry, 2017, and we are now 6 days away from the presentation, the Nintendo Switch presentation on January 12th. But that new Mario in the trailer, it looks pretty nice. But upon first inspection, like whenever I first watched the video, it got only 5 seconds of gameplay, and as those 5 seconds whirred past me, I just kind of thought it was a 3D World 2 sort of situation. It looked like 3D World. But upon further inspection, it looked like an open world type of game. Like more like an open world Mario that harkens back to the likes of Sunshine and Galaxy and 64. So I want to talk about that with you guys today. That's what this video is on. Why I think this new 3D Mario is an open world game as opposed to a linear sort of enclosed 3D land, 3D world type game. So let's jump into our first scene here, and pretty much the first couple seconds of the Mario gameplay, you see Mario performing a triple jump. Now, I do know that that's present in the 2D Marios, like the new Super Mario Bros., but never has been present in a 3D Mario since, I think, Galaxy 2. So that's, I think that's one of the biggest indicators right off the bat that you see that this could be an open world Mario game. And the second thing I want to point out is Mario is in a Mexican town, like a Mexican village. And that to me is really awesome because this is a new location. You know, it doesn't confine to the standards of, grass, desert, snow, lava, mountain, that sort of structure that 3D Land and 3D World and New Super Mario Bros. Followed. I mean, granted, 3D Land and 3D World did have some level variation, but at its roots, that's what it was, the foundations of it. And it was a very enjoyable game, but just not an open world true 3D Mario. Anyways, moving on to the next thing, there are citizens and buildings. Now, we haven't really seen full-fledged citizens since, like, Galaxy 2, and buildings since then as well, that Mario can actually enter. Actually, I think the last buildings Mario could actually enter, like the shops and stuff, in a 3D Mario game was from Sunshine. Wow, that is a long time ago. So, that makes me think that these guys, what did they have to say? Like, they're part of this course. There's probably something going on in this course, like the ice and the moon. Everything seems to be frozen over, and I think the moon has something to do with it. And overall, I think that ice and the moon has something to do with the narrative of the game, the overall story of it. But I think these guys are kind of worrying about the ice, and you can talk to them about it and everything. So I think that plays a part in the narrative of the game, and I think that the citizens and the very, very, very colorful buildings are definitely remnants of a 3D, an open world type 3D Mario game. And that logo on the shop to the left, on the blue shop, it reads Crazy Cap. And immediately when I think of caps and 3D Mario games, and I'm sure all of you think of this too, 64. Super Mario 64, the Vanish Cap, the Metal Cap, and the Wing Cap. And while, again, like Galaxy, while I'd be fine with another Super Mario 64, every 3D Mario after Mario 64, except for the 3D Land and World, were kind of spiritual successors to it, especially Sunshine. So I don't think we're going to get a 64-2, and also I just wouldn't want a 64-2 because, again, I'd rather have something fresh and new and, mind-blowing. But there's something else I want to point out other than that frozen fountain, the moon, the shops, the people, Mario performing a triple jump. There is a beacon of light on the horizon, and it's pretty hard to miss, that huge ray of light. And I'm going to put up a picture here. If you'll notice, this is very, very similar to the gleam of a power star in Super Mario Galaxy, whenever Mario is close to a power star, or wherever the power star is located, that gleam emanates from it. And so that's exactly what I think it is. I think that is the power star. And I think the power stars will make a return in this game for that reason. And another thing I wanted to point out in that same scene, man, there's a lot of stuff in here, is that there are purple arrows pointing to an umbrella. And I mean, to me, that immediately reminds me of Sunshine just bouncing off of the umbrellas, sort of, in the little, you know, sort of open markets in Delfina Plaza. You know what I'm talking about, with the fruits and everything. That reminds me of bouncing off the umbrellas, and it looks like if Mario were to bounce off of those umbrellas, that he would be able to get on top of those buildings. So that is yet another element of exploration. But I think those purple arrows are to guide you towards where the mission is. And that's also why I think missions will be returning in this game, because that looks to be a branching pathway. If, in fact, these levels do have different things laid out in them for different missions, like those purple arrows guide you to different parts of the level, will be returning in this game. And the power stars as well, or some sort of collectible like that. So moving on to the next scene, there are, immediately you notice there are coin rings, and that kind of makes people sort of shy away from this trailer and regard it as a 3D Land, 3D World type game. And just an analogy I have is that I don't think that those coin rings are to signify any like resemblance to 3D World, because the Octoombas from Super Mario Galaxy are in 3D Land and 3D World, but that doesn't necessarily mean that 3D Land and 3D World are Galaxy type games. So likewise to the coin rings, just because the coin rings are in this new 3D Mario does not mean it's a type of 3D Land / 3D World game. So one thing immediately right off the bat in this scene I noticed, besides those coin rings, is these gigantic, huge ice crystals that have mist around them in the background. And again, I think that is part of the narrative, you know, with the ice and everything freezing over. And it's anyone's guess as to why this is happening. But this is very interesting. I mean, this game looks to have a very good narrative. It looks to have different unique locations. So, I mean, we'll see what happens on January 12th. But anyways, back to the scene. There is a heart, and that heart immediately reminds me of not the heart from well, it does remind me of the heart from Super Mario 64, but it also reminds me of the life counters from each of the 3D Mario games, excluding the 3D Land and 3D World. Each of those games had like a life counter of sort, and almost always you could collect coins to regain life. And there was no life counter present in the new Super Mario Bros. Games or the 3D Land / World games, and your life counter would sort of, the power-ups in 3D Land and 3D World would sort of act as a life counter. You know, when you'd get hit, you'd get transformed into small Mario, you know. But I think that heart signifies a life counter, and again, that relates back to the Sunshine 64 and Galaxy, and those are all open world games, open world 3D Mario games. So another thing is, and this is like a very subtle sort of thing that I noticed, there are 3 coins in the back. I don't know if you can see them, but they're in a vertical alignment, so they're going in a straight line upwards. And I think that Mario will be prompted to jump up there, like follow the line of coins, and hop on top sort of this temple. I don't even know what to call it, like this place, this whole structure, and that really suggests that there's more to explore on the top of that. So those are the reasons that I could find and dig up from this 5 seconds of gameplay from this new Mario game that suggests that it is a open world type game. Now you can believe, you know, whatever you want to believe. If you're still adamant on your belief that it is a 3D World 2, everyone has their own opinions, but all will be revealed on January 12th, I guess. I mean, like, just hype it up for the presentation. I know my hype is at the roof right now, so I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, hopefully this sheds some light on this game being a little more open world, and hopefully all these things that I listed and more points to this game being an open world type game like Sunshine 64 and Galaxy. So thank you guys for tuning into this video today. Thank you so much, and I will likely do an impressions video of the new 3D Mario gameplay at the Switch presentation on January 12th. So I will likely be doing an impressions video, just, you know, stating what I think about it. Thank you guys for watching again, and I will see you all